Hello everybody, Nerd in Texoma, back with another episode of Nerd in Texoma. Hey, how's that for you? Today I will be talking about and reviewing a knockoff I just recently got that's basically the same as a long time knockoff that's been out there of a Transformer set. Couple of changes to it, but pretty much the same thing. I thought it was cool. The knockoff is of the Generation 1 Protectobots to merge and form Defensor. Now, what's different about these knockoffs, and this is Hotshot, this is just one of 5 bots that combine to form Defensor. What's different about these is they're dark blue. They're based off of the same exact molds as the previous knockoff that's been around for, golly, like 20 years, the cheap one that you used to find in Easter baskets and stuff like that. Yeah, they, Hotshot in his Generation 1 official colors is a light blue fire and rescue truck. Then for the knockoff, they changed him to a red one, which, you know, most fire trucks are red, so that's a little bit more fitting. And like I said, that's been the cheap knockoff that's been around for years. Now, recently, they've made a dark blue Defensor knockoff. And they've went as far as making the other members of the team dark blue. This is First Aid. He'd normally be a white ambulance, completely white with no weird coloring. Now, when have you seen a ambulance that's mostly blue with, you know, white doors and white panels on the side? I've never seen one, but I guess if one were getting repaired and it was in a rural community, you know, where they might not have money to repaint it, yeah, that might happen. Then we have Streetwise, the police car, again with the weird, you know, fender and door being blue. Now, originally, normally, this is a completely white police car. You know, it has the normal one has a black spoiler. They made this blue spoiler. Okay, that makes sense. But to have the fender and part of the door be blue, just, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Then we have Groove, the police motorcycle. Now, okay, again, this one looks, I would say, most presentable because he's a just regular old police motorcycle. Blue seat, but just like the cheap red knockoff that's been floating around for years, on the red one they made the tires red. On this blue one here, the tires are blue. You know, I understand trying to cut costs and, you know, things make them for cheaper as possible. I apologize, my phone and camera kind of slid a little bit there. Now Blades, he's a rescue helicopter, or he's supposed to be. I personally think Blades makes sense in the alternate colors that the knockoffs have made, because, you know, blue and white for the doors and body of the helicopter, and then the back tail section in blue. I think this makes sense. This one looks right. Groove looks right, aside from, you know, blue tires, but that's a slight thing. Hotspot looks right, you know, as there's not a lot of weird variance in colors. These two, with their odd panels, it'll look a little funky on that. Now, all of these do individually transform into robot modes, and in each of them there has been some simplification of the mold. Like Blades here, the official G1, the tail fin and tail rotor, which is extremely stiff on this, well, dang, fell off. That's odd, but there we go. Pops back on. The tail fin here on a G1 splits in two. On the cheap knockoff, they molded it together so it splits as a whole. It doesn't split, it folds up as a whole on one side of the figure. Then the back part folds down. Cockpit area folds onto his back, and if I can do it, the sides, the doors, fold out into his arms. Now, I mean, there is a little bit of wiggle in this knockoff here. The stickers aren't applied well. Sometimes in knockoffs they are, sometimes in knockoffs they aren't. Again, sometimes in knockoffs you have a solid figure, sometimes it's a little loose and wiggly like that. But I think Blades looks pretty cool in both modes. The only thing that I fault is the G1 official. His helicopter blades, he only has two, which seems a little odd to me, but the knockoff has four, which seems a little bit more, I don't know, structural, I guess you'd say. I'm not sure that's the right word, but it looks like it would support a helicopter better. But the problem is, the knockoff, there's no way for them to fold up. In the official G1, the blades actually fold up, so you don't have this weird bit sticking off of his back like that. Alright, next I will go on to Groove, starting, you know, going backwards from the least objectionable colors, I guess you'd say, or color combinations, to what I don't really like. Now for Blades, you flip his seat out, which becomes, in this knockoff, a mono foot. In the original, the seat would be able to split here and you'd be able to slide each one off to the side here to make two individual big seat feet. In the original, I believe he also has a little pop down for his legs, which the knockoff has simplified and does not have. But it has his arms, which can flip up, and his head. Now also in the original, there is a swivel here, so you can turn this whole front wheel and front section of the motorcycle around, and it'll sit a little bit flatter, make it less of a odd backpack for him. Otherwise, on the knockoff, you can either do that with the wheels sticking straight out the back, or that with the wheels sticking straight up. Again, it's a mold simplification. Many knockoffs do this, especially the cheaper ones, because it's cheaper to make, you know, one part instead of two separate parts. Alright, then we have Streetwise police car. You'll start off by popping the fist out. There's a little peg hole right there that pops into his fist. Do that on the other side. Pull the arms out. Swivel that down to become his feet. And swivel it around to become his head. Again, simplification on this particular version of a cheap mold knockoff, or has been evident in the cheap mold on the red one also. Normally on the G1 there would be an extra hinged area here to fold up the hood of the car so it's not so long and sticking down so much on his body. Then we have first aid, the ambulance. Just flip out his feet there and see there's a little bit of the knockoff wiggle going on. Flip up the roof of the ambulance and then take out the arms, and there he is. Now again, I think the if I remember correctly, the red version of this knockoff, the old red version, has a little bit more detailing. I mean, you can see nothing on the face has been painted. There's nothing on the chest. It's just solid blue. The details are there, but they're not picked out. Alright, next up, or final up almost, is Hotspot. Alright, so for him, you take and pull back the back part of the fire truck, and you see again some of that wiggly knockoff. This leg doesn't have it as much as this one, or it doesn't really. What you do for individual robot mode is just like that, and you pop his head up. The official G1 real figure, this would be spring-loaded and pop up by itself. Also, you would have some swivel here at the shoulder, so his fist could go forward. This does not have fist. It would pop out right there of the grill of the truck. So Hotspot is not really a good standalone figure in this version. Now it does come with all the accessories you need to merge him into Defensor, and that will most likely be the way that this knockoff will be displayed in my collection. For that, you have to, you have to pop that down and kind of make a squat body out of Hotspot. Then you take the fire truck ladder, which is where Defensor's head is, and just kind of flip that up and stick that up top there. That's that part. For the others, like for Streetwise, you basically transform him back into car mode, but there's this little peg right there. You flip that down, take one of Defensor's fists and stick it in this hole in the back of the car. I guess it would be the tailpipe. I don't know. And then there's a little connection port right there. That you just push it in. And Defensor has an arm now. Same thing here with blades. Basically transform him back into helicopter mode, but you keep this tail fin folded off to the side because that's where the connection port is for the fist. And here's Defensor's other fist and gun. Plug that right in that port. And he's also going to have a connection port which is his head, so you have to flip that out like that, put the helicopter front back in place, and there's a similar port on the other shoulder that you stick his head into. And Defensor has his arms. Now, come over to first aid and basically do the same thing. You almost transform him back into ambulance mode. Then there's a post hole right there on the top of the ambulance that you plug the foot into. Now, official transformation wise, you're supposed to have his bottom facing forward. I don't totally like that, even on the normal red knockoff, and especially on this blue knockoff, because they've moved the port off center to connect his foot. So you'll get, basically, well, if I can get it, you'll see that his leg does not sit straight on the foot there. So, your personal choice, do whatever you want. I just turn the foot around, or turn him around to to make the foot and leg straight. And same thing, connection port is his head to connect him to make the greater Defensor robot. Alright, now we're down to groove. Take his arms, take the foot, and again, the connection port there for the greater robot is on the bottom there, back of his seat. Again, normally the G1, you would connect it with this, well, with that facing forward, toward the toes, but I don't like the way that is because it's not detailed on these knockoffs, so I'll go ahead and connect it with where you see a lot more of the motorcycle stuff. And his connection port is also his head there, which is kind of difficult sometimes because his head does slide back, so it's kind of difficult to get it in the right way. Also, granted, you're not going to be posing these pretty much, but by putting on the leg, especially on groove being the leg, putting it on backwards, you do get a little bit of a knee joint. Alright, so then take the crotch plate and cover it right there. It covers up some screw holes that are in Hotspot's legs. And then take the chest shield here. Now normally, again, the G1, this is 2 pieces. For the knockoff, they've gone ahead and molded it as 1 piece. And let's see, get this pegged in here. Right. There we go. On his chest up there. And there you have the combined form of Defensor. Is this a interesting repaint? In my opinion, yes. That's why I bought it. I thought it was pretty dang cool as far as a repaint goes. As far as sturdiness for daily transformation, playing with, you know, if you're buying something like this for your kids, no, it's not going to hold up. Me personally, I know there is already an official Generation 2 version of Defensor that has never been released. I made my own custom of one years ago out of one of the cheap knockoff red ones, and it's way buried in storage. But in my personal day-to-day collection, what I see around the house and stuff, to me this fits the bill for a Generation 2 fill-in Defensor, and I will put some Generation 2 decals on him, in my opinion, because it goes well with the knockoff Metroplex that I have, that I've got as a Generation 2, because he's slightly color difference from an official G1. So, yeah, Here is the dark blue cheap knockoff Defensor G1 figure. You can find them on like AliExpress and stuff like that for about 16 bucks. Sorry for the crashing going on. My cats are having fun jumping onto stuff. I don't know what, but they're having fun. But yeah, you can find it on AliExpress for like, you know, about 15 to 18 bucks shipped. There was one ding dong on eBay who is trying to sell this for $120. Yeah, you see it's loose and wobbly, and you know, it'll do good standing in place, but yeah, 120 bucks. Never. At most, spend 20 bucks on this figure. At most. If you're going to buy it. But, yeah, here's blue G2, in my opinion, Defensor. Sorry for the long video, but there's a lot to show off here. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.